conscious of how silly I looked laying back like I was taking a nap. Oh my gosh.
So here we go. Last episode was pretty quick. Of Listen LowCo. Look at this. We actually have a logo this time. We didn't have that last time. Dude, I think we just did our individual company logos.
I don't even know if we did that.
Maybe we didn't. Maybe so we'd add it later. Anyways, welcome back to another episode of Listen LowCo. So last time we talked about
Just starting,
right? Which we just did, which was how long ago now? So
probably like
we're
3 months.
right. So we're just starting. No, it was not 3 months ago. It was maybe 3 weeks.
2 months. No, it's been. You're right. Maybe not. It's been like a month.
But so here we are. We're back.
I feel like it might have been before Christmas.
It was not before Christmas. There's no way it was before Christmas.
I don't know.
Well, we're here. We're back.
We are.
And the whole point of this show really is to talk to business owners, entrepreneurs in the Lowcountry, hear their stories, and hopefully be inspiration to others. So we thought, what better place to start than
with our own stories.
Our own stories. We talked last time a little bit about kind of what we do and how we think we can help other businesses with our own marketing and video production. But we want to hear... I want to hear your story. I want to hear your story.
I was like, we want to hear our own stories.
I hope you want to hear my story. Maybe you don't. Maybe nobody does.
No, I don't think I've heard your full story. So, I mean, for those who don't know, we met, I guess, through BNI, right?
Was it through BNI?
Yeah, I think you were in a different chapter.
I was
in a chapter. Were you visiting? Or were you sitting for someone?
I don't remember.
That was I don't know.
It was like 4 years, almost 3 or 4 years ago.
And then, I got kicked out.
You got kicked out, and I kept going, but to a different chapter, and then we ended up, like a year and a half ago, something like that, we ended up renting office space together. And
with the idea of having some type of studio.
Right, and then we left that place and moved into the grind
July
of last year, 2025.
Yeah.
So we each have our own space now. We were in one space before, it was really small.
So this has been like a year of planning and talking about it.
Right.
And since then, we've gotten most of a website up, and now
we have a logo.
Episode.
We have a studio. It looks a lot better than the last one.
Oh, way better.
And
that was like a closet.
It was, it was.
Yeah.
So, but we couldn't even got 2 of us in there, really. Not well.
Yeah. If we wanted to like sit on each other's laps, maybe.
It's not that kind of a podcast.
Could be.
Make it better reviews or worse. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's start with your story, Patrick. I mean,
my story.
Right now, you run a digital marketing agency.
Yes.
That's not what you've always done.
No, my background's IT, so I kind of went non-traditional route out of high school. Decided going to computers, getting into network engineering. Started doing that. Desktop support, networking. Eventually got into like development side, configuration management, some project management.
And who are you working for? Like what kind of
companies? I worked contractor at like I forget if it was Wells Fargo, Merck. My last company was United Healthcare, so large corporate companies.
Okay.
Doing IT, and I noticed the same theme everywhere I went. There's always threat of outsourcing. But also I always had the same desire of like wanting to work for myself. Like, how do I get out of my job and figure out a way to be an entrepreneur? And for a while I was doing real estate, bought rental properties, tried flipping properties, spent a lot of money, lost a good amount of money, learned a lot. But eventually that led me to get my real estate license. And that led me to, I liked real estate. I did not like the time it took to show houses all the time because I was working a full-time job, doing nights and weekends, but it kind of you have to be a marketer to be a realtor. Like you want leads, unless you're just going to do sphere of influence, but that's limited. So like I was learning how to do websites and lead generation, and I played around with e-com stuff and local marketing a little bit around that time, but still have my full-time job. Was with United Healthcare almost 7 years. And in 2014, they decided I was full-time telecommuter. So like I was hired to work from home. So, I mean, it was 6-7 years of working from home then they, of course, their, mergers and that kind of stuff, they started bringing us all in-house. Like everyone has to come back to the office. So it was like 6 years working from home. Now you have to come into the office. And I don't remember if they announced this or it was just known that they were going to do 80% of the IT offshore. Wow. So 80% of the U.S. jobs were going overseas. I essentially came in, trained my replacement in India, and then they made me come in every day and sit at my desk for 8 hours a day. And do nothing. Like I would ask for work, and it was all, my work was now being handled overseas. So,
but you knew you were going to,
I knew that it was
going to let go.
Yeah, I knew that was like, you either need to leave or you need to find another job within United Healthcare.
Did you look?
I didn't, because I knew like if I looked, I'm going to be outsourced again. Because it's just like,
you're still the hamster.
I mean, I was, for however many years I was in IT, whether it was Merck, United Healthcare, like they all were going to that model of outsourcing, which I understand because, you do save money. So again, can
I jump back real quick? I want to ask about, okay, so the real estate thing, was that before was that while you were still at United?
Yeah, so I had my real estate license while working at United Healthcare. I had it probably for several years, and I did do some transactions. I helped friends and family, but like there was a point where I was just showing buyers houses like every night during the week and every weekend. And like when you show like 40 houses, you just get burned out. So I started referring it to other agents, and I'm like, why don't I just figure out a way to generate the leads, and then I could just like refer them out.
So was this a side thing for you?
It was a side thing.
Was it like, I want to transition to this. I want to get off that corporate wheel.
Yes, the corporate wheel, because I read Rich Dad Poor Dad, if anyone read that. So there's the four quadrants. It's like employee, self-employed, business owner, and investor. And I was like, got obsessed with, how do I move from an employee to like a business owner or even self-employed? And I mean, a lot of people end up, that's a whole different topic, but they go to create a business and they create a job for themselves. So like I was doing all kinds of stuff in addition to my full-time job, trying to figure out, that's like in my head, it was like, I'm going to build up my real estate business and I'll be able to just like seamlessly transition over into being like a full-time realtor or investor. Or when I got laid off, I wasn't entirely sure which direction I was going to go. But that was my thought, was perfect world. You have a side hustle that equals or close to equals your salary, and you can just like quit. Well, at the time I didn't know that the layoffs were coming. So maybe 6 months before, I think they had started bringing us in and had us sit there for that long.
So were you, the reason you did the real estate, were you unhappy where you were, or was it just like, I know something might happen, so I want to have a backup plan? Like, what was the thought process?
Both. I guess I'm kind of like, I wasn't like big on the traditional route, going to college, working up the corporate ladder, that kind of stuff. Like all my friends were that way. And for some reason, like my family, they're all like engineers. Like I come from a family like engineers, like everyone, my cousins, my uncles, my grandfather, engineers. And here I am thinking like, I don't want to do like traditional stuff. I don't know why. So I just had always had that in my back of my head, like do something different. And I gravitated towards entrepreneurship, was obsessed with real estate for a while. And that's kind of like how I get obsessed about something until I figure it out. So I did real estate for a while. So I didn't really have a plan. I thought probably real estate was going to be my out as far as like getting out of corporate. It was in 2014, March 2014, when I actually got laid off. So 200 people in our local office got laid off just from that one building. And so almost 7 years. I gave us 6 weeks severance. So not even that long. Yeah, 1 week for every year. So like I give them almost 7 years, and I got 6.5 weeks of severance. And that, so from March 27th, that's like March, April into May, my income goes from, making good money. I was probably making with bonuses around $100,000 a year. I mean, back then that's good. I don't know if you could survive on that now. But I couldn't, my income, like 75% of it cut. And so like I'm sitting there, I had 2 kids. We had 2 kids at the time, young, like 3 and 4. And it was either go look for another job, which is probably the fastest way, go find a job to replace my income, or take the opportunity to figure out how to work for myself. And in the back of my head, I kept thinking, like, this is going to be like a constantly repeating cycle. I go to another corporate company, I'm in IT, it gets outsourced.
Yeah.
And so I was like, if I'm going to have that risk, I might as well start figuring out a way to just work for myself. So at least I have more control over it.
Yeah, you're in charge of the way.
Yeah, some people, I mean, I'm not against people who have jobs, but sometimes there is a false security there. Like, I don't think companies care about their employees like they used to. Mm-hmm. Like, when you could go and work with one company, get a pension, all that stuff. Now it's just like, if they can outsource your job overseas, they're going to do it.
Right. Or now AI, right?
Yeah.
What aspects?
A good friend of mine at the time, who was a full-time real estate investor, basically said, usually in difficult choices or difficult times, you can make a decision based on fear and stay in your comfort zone, or step out in faith and take it as a growing opportunity. And so it kind of hit me. I was like, I'm tired of living in the safe zone. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, let me make the challenging decision to step out in faith and see what happens. At that time, Facebook ads were I think Facebook was still pretty new, and ads were brand new. I didn't know anything about ads. I didn't, e-com, like Amazon wasn't what it is right now.
Right.
So I'm thinking, well, e-com's not going away. Social media is not going away. I took a $1,000, it was like a PayPal loan, like 6 months, no interest, no payments. And I'm like, I'm going to figure this out, because I saw these people on Facebook selling T-shirts, which sounds silly, but they're doing it through Facebook ads. So I spent $500 on coaching. Mm-hmm. Then I took the other $500 and used it to have T-shirt designs made and run Facebook ads. And literally, like, that's all I did for like the next 6 months, was just study and test shirts. And in the beginning, I could only spend a couple, I didn't have a ton of money to invest into ads. So you test, maybe back then you might test, 5-6 shirts, and one does well. And it was always like, okay, that shirt sells for a while, then it dies off. Let me go and find a new design. And that's just what it was. In the beginning, it was just reinvesting. Since I only had 6 weeks severance, I did have to call the bank and do a forbearance agreement, which is basically like, I don't have enough money to cover my mortgage. I need some time to figure it out. So yes, I had my wife, who was staying home with her kids, and, again, 2 kids at home, and just me as far as work goes.
How was that? Like what kind of, like, this whole process of lost the job, now income's down, now we're like, what did you?
My wife and I talked about that, and it was kind of like, what's the worst? Which is, it's crazy, because she was very, like, good about all that. Like, I don't think I was as scared as, I don't know, I've been more scared recently than when it happened that first time, but it was, okay, what happens if it doesn't work out? You have to go back to work. What happens if we have to sell the house and move? Like, as long as we had, like, our health and the kids and all that stuff, like, what's important.
That makes such a difference, having someone in the corner that's not like, I mean, it's still scary, right? There's still moments of uneasiness, but to have someone kind of have your back.
I would lie if I said I didn't have, like, nights where I had, like, panic attacks and anxiety of worrying about it. But I did get, and this could be a tip for just anyone in general, was like, there's a saying about, like, burning the bridges. Yeah. Like, some people, again, like, I tried doing both at the same time, and it's not for everyone. Because you can always easily fall back to your comfort zone. But when I got laid off, like, that bridge was burned. I mean, if I wanted to, I could go find another job. But I guess it was just the Lord's way of, like, kicking me out and kind of having to figure it out. So no lie, it was like December. So it was like all June through December, me reinvesting, studying, getting obsessed with T-shirt designs, figuring out what's working. In the meantime, so forbearance is like no mortgage payments for 6 months. And then at the end of 6 months, you either pay it all back, or they can start the foreclosure process. Most of the times, yes. So all of it back. Some cases, they'll tack it on to the end and work something out. So I'm like, all right, well, I don't know how that's going to happen, but I'm going to figure it out.
Right.
So that 6 month December, which Christmas time in e-com's great, but we had the best. I mean, I had a couple shirts it sounds silly, but sold thousands of shirts. So like literally, I probably made like $50,000 profit from Facebook
That's
ads
great.
and T-shirt designs.
And what period of time?
Just that 1 month.
This is a month.
In 1 month. Yeah. So that 1 month after all the hard work of like reinvesting, I was like, Christmas, time of year. It was kind of, back then the ads were cheaper. So there was a kind of like a perfect storm of effect, but I was able to pay off the forbearance agreement, come current with the mortgage, pay off, any outstanding like credit cards, and just basically start with a clean slate. And then I did that for another year up north, some from Philly. And then we decided, all right, it's time to move down south and get out of the cold. And we came down to Bluffton and kind of did that for a while. So e-com, what should I say? It evolved. It wasn't just Facebook ads and T-shirts. It became more like full like Shopify sites, e-commerce, actually buying product overseas, shipping it out ourselves. And I got into more like building out funnels and continuity programs. And there's been multiple times where like I've kind of had to like start over. Like even moving down here, something gets saturated, and then you gotta kind of transition.
Right.
But I did that for right up until like COVID. I was doing really well. E-com didn't need to, like, I wasn't doing any client work. It was just me running my own businesses. Facebook ads evolved into, all different stuff, SEO, Google ads, YouTube ads, Google shopping ads. And right around COVID, I got involved with a bad financial, I'd say like credit card processing company. So they were handling all my payments because with recurring, it gets a little bit, higher risk. And so noticed all of a sudden accounts going down. Start asking questions like, hey, where's my statements? Start not getting any responses and find out like they're literally like nickel and diming me. Because there's days we were having a couple hundred orders a day. Like I was spending sometimes $5,000-$6,000 a day on ads. So I have so many transactions coming in and out. I didn't know what was going on.
So they were skimming off the top.
Yeah. So every credit card hit, boom, boom. They might take 25 cents, 35 cents. I don't know. But it got to a point where
beyond the normal fees.
Yeah, beyond the normal fees, right? On top of that.
There are fees, right?
Right. And so I had recurring revenue. At one point we were doing a lot of revenue monthly. And so I'm like, I'm shutting all my ads off because I'm like, that's the biggest expense is ads. And then money kept coming out of my account. And I just realized like, okay, this company's not getting back to me anymore. Jeez. But my bank account's just being drained. All the fees, boom, boom, boom. Whether like that transaction actually like, sometimes they'll hit the card and it doesn't actually process a payment, but they'll still charge me. So if there's like thousands of credit card hits a day, that's thousands of dollars they were taking out of my account. So I just
oh my gosh.
I had to shut it all off. And so I went from making like really good money to nothing. I had some savings and I just was like, what am I going to do? I don't know. So in the back of my head, I was like, I can always take on clients.
So could you not, were you not able to like switch the processor and just...
I probably could have, but I think at that point with the recurring billing and it can be a little bit higher risk, I was just kind of scared to end up in the same spot again. Plus, Facebook ads were getting more competitive, ad costs were getting more expensive. And I was just like, I don't know if I want to continue doing that model. And so I got invited to BNI and literally was like, I could take everything I've learned over the last 10 years of marketing for myself and now do it for local businesses. Mm-hmm. And so like I started BNI, I had nothing. I had the name, like Kickstart Local is our marketing agency. I didn't even have a website. It's like I just had like my knowledge and my experience and the name. And I joined BNI and I'm like talking about, hey, we do marketing and website design. And there was no proven thing. I didn't have anything.
No case studies, no past clients,
just my own, just myself was the case study. So like I built other people's websites before I built my own. And that just started growing. The first couple of years were hard. I was getting more website clients. Originally, I was more focused on, we're more of a marketing agency. Mm-hmm. But then I would have clients come to me and they would need a website, or they didn't have a website. So it's like, what are we marketing? So I kind of developed the process of, making sure they have the right things in place before we move into marketing. And honestly, we do really good websites at affordable price. And I know for a fact in this area, we build really good websites. And my thought is I'll give you a really good website because I want that long-term relationship of let me help you grow your business so that we kind of both grow together. So yeah, I mean, first couple of years is probably double each year. So I don't even know if this is year 3 or 4, but I mean, even when I was starting this, I had no idea where my income was coming from. So that was super stressful, and of course the thoughts creep in your head, like, should I go back to work? What am I going to do?
Right.
And down here, it's not like you could go get a corporate job.
Tell me about it. Yeah,
pays
it's hard.
Six figures. So I'm like, I either have to relocate,
right,
find someone who will pay me remotely to make over 100,000 now because things are so expensive, or I'm just going to need to build this, which I knew I could, and it took a couple of years, but yeah, I mean, I have a solid client list now. I have a good process. I'm not stressing every night. I don't have the panic attacks as much, but yeah, I mean, that's kind of my story of where I've come, but everything I've learned along the way is what I do for my clients. So it's things that I've personally done testing with my own money and my own businesses.
Let me ask you a question. So back to that second rebirth, right, of going from
e-com to like a marketing agency.
You're like, well, what do I do? Do I get another job, or do I go back to the corporate world? I'd have to move, right? This is a question I've asked myself a lot as I left the corporate America and started my own thing. It's like, well, maybe this would be simpler if I just had health insurance and a matching 401k and all this other stuff. But
all the benefit package.
I guess it is 401k. IRA's your own. But anyways, right, had all the benefits and everything else, but there's nowhere to go. I would have to move.
Correct.
But then by the time, and I think our kids are about the same age.
Yeah.
Like by the time we got to that point, we're like, well, they're not like 2 and 3 anymore.
No.
We can't just say, hey, let's go make new friends.
It would be hard.
They're embedded. And you and your wife probably were.
We went through that. Yeah.
Church. You got all those things. It's the older everyone gets, the harder it is to do that.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
Well, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, like, we moved down in 2015. And for the first couple of years, it was hard for us to get plugged in. Like, we tried to go through churches. And I know everyone here is kind of like, not many people were born here in Bluffton, but it wasn't until we moved into our neighborhood that we finally started feeling like, oh, we got community, we're making friends, we got neighbors, our kids are in the school. And at that point, I'm like, we have our people. I don't want to uproot them. And you're right. My kids, when we moved down here, they were like 4 and 5. They hadn't even started in kindergarten. I want to rip them out of like their school and their friends and start over. And I'll be honest, like, there was nights I was driving, say limos, but like transportation to make extra money, like picking up people from the airport and driving them, back and forth or to concerts in Savannah. And then I had the barbecue, for those who don't know, Malone barbecue, little pitch there.
You were definitely,
yes, it's in my blood. But I was doing that. I got to do a pop-up. I got to make money to pay the mortgage. I got to go drive cars.
Yeah.
I know in my head, like, I know I just need time to get this up. I knew I had the skill set. It just was a matter of the time. It sucked. I'm not going to lie. It's those last 2 or 3 years sucked during that time. But it's part of growing and learning. And part of me now is like, I don't ever want to go feel that again. So like, there's things I'm putting in place where I'm like, I have backup plans. Like, I was all my eggs were in Facebook, all my eggs were in one basket. So I think that's probably another lesson I took out, is maybe diversify a little bit, have some backup plans.
Yeah.
Cause, that was, it was bad.
Yeah. I mean, great story.
Thank you.
Amazing journey. Along the way, I mean, you feel like the kind of person, you seem like the kind of person that you just go out and you do it. You pull yourself up, you make it happen, you learn what you need to learn, you go.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of initiative and your own drive that made that happen. What about outside of yourself? Like, what other resources or people helped you kind of get to where you are? Or were there people? Or was it everyone just abandoned and I was all me?
They kind of say, like, you attract people who are like-minded. Or, like, surround yourself with people like who are going to motivate you. Up north, it was a weird environment. There's not a lot of, I did not know a lot of people who were like entrepreneurs. I moved down here. It's like the whole economy is different. Like there's not corporate.
Yeah.
So you're either in like tourist, food and beverage, some type of service, or a lot of people own businesses.
So many small
So like
businesses.
you, myself, David was in here earlier. Like I just have met so many people who are like similar mindsets.
Yeah.
And the online community is like that. So like you get involved with other, like I have a lot of good friends that I've never met, but I talk to them on Facebook because we're all in the same communities. We're like, hey, we're all doing, Shopify and e-com together.
Mm-hmm.
And we've gone on to grow and to do other things. And then we stay in touch. And it's like, now I have experts who are, all over the world, and we're continually staying up to date on like things change because marketing changes, Google changes, Facebook, Instagram changes. But I think if you understand the concepts of like marketing in general, like you just kind of learn how to adjust. But I think the online community and finding those people who are like-minded
Mm-hmm.
are there to help.
What advice would you give to someone else that's in your shoes? Maybe they've moved. We had a lot of people that moved down here during COVID, right? That were corporate, started working remote. I don't know the numbers. I'm sure David or other realtors could tell us, right?
Yeah,
Like the percentage of people that came down with families, corporate jobs. But we're finding people now that they're being called back to work, but now they've already moved. Now they're trying to figure out, what do I do? Do I stay here and keep going? Do I start my own business? What advice would you give to someone in that?
Honestly, down here, I think I see a lot of opportunity down here, like a lot of opportunity. I come from up north, and it seems like things down here, they call it the slow country. So like I literally will have clients that they'll call me, either I answer the phone or I call them right back, and they're like, oh my gosh, you called me back. I literally had like people buy websites over the phone because I called them back. My advice would be, if you are willing to put the time in and hustle and call people back and show up when you say you're going to show up and deliver on what you say,
Yeah.
most people down here are going to be happy.
Yeah.
And that's like all businesses. I mean, I don't know how many like contractors tell me they're going to come out and give me quotes. And I ask them, I want business. I need help.
Yeah.
And then they never show up.
No,
so like you need to just follow through with what you're going to, what you say, and then be responsive, respond quickly. I think there's a lot of opportunity here.
Yeah.
That's my story.
Well, thanks for sharing. All right. Well, thank you all.
Thank you guys.
See you next time.